Welcome back to the channel. My name is Steven. I'm a pharmacist. I own 52 units of real estate and I help coach people to buy their first multifamily deal. So today I want to talk about how the more wealth I've built, the more I've wanted, or the less I've wanted, which ironically made me more free. So once again, the more wealth I've built, the less I have wanted, which made me more free. And it's quite ironic because for me, why I wanted to build wealth in the first place was because I came from a place of, low self-esteem. I came from a place of wanting to prove others wrong. I came from a place of, combined with ambition. I wanted to really push myself. I wanted to see what I was capable of. I wanted to, retire early, and I wanted to kind of live that quote unquote rich life. And so as a result, in my my early 20s, when I first became a pharmacist, I always strived for more. I strived for more money. I strived to own more things. I tried to do more activities. I just always wanted more, and I was coming from a place of lack. And back then I thought that by obtaining everything and building more wealth, it would make me significantly happier. And as I built my wealth journey, and don't get me wrong, obviously, having more wealth and more money, it's gonna be easier than not having wealth or money, or being in poverty and struggling month to month. So definitely grateful for that. But in terms of the things I wanted, so the more wealth I've built, so I invest in real estate, I invest in index funds, I invested in a few businesses that lost money. But ironically, the more I've built wealth and put money into assets, the actually less I wanted, because I realized that that I could buy this shirt, which it's okay, I might like it now, I may like it for the next year or two, but I'd rather just allocate that money towards my financial freedom. So for me, being able to retire earlier, being able to kind of travel, being able to not be tied to a 9-to-5 job, being able to kind of have the freedom of options. So the freedom and choice to work, the freedom and choice to not work, the freedom and choice to work part-time, the freedom and choice to just travel whenever I want, with who I want, spontaneously, to be able to kind of live life when I'm younger, healthier, have more energy before I have obligations of the family. So as I kind of started allocating money towards kind of my future self, it kind of made me realize that I didn't need as much as I thought, and it actually made me want less. So it's quite funny. When I bought my first house in 2017, I remember I had $2,000 in my bank account, and that was the poorest I've felt since I was in college. And back in college, I thought $2,000 in the bank account was a lot, but when you're working and you have obligations and bills and student loans, it didn't feel like much. So for me, I remember when I had $2,000, I felt very tight, and I just started cutting my expenses significantly. And I realized that I wasn't any less happier than I was when I was spending money. And to me, I was just buying a lot of useless material goods, clothes, knickknacks, electronics, and it just created too much clutter. So buying less and being more minimalist, it actually made me want even more. It kind of became reinforcing to want even less, and to just be happy with what you have. And or if I buy something, make sure that I really really will utilize it, and it'll really improve my quality of life. So that's kind of the mindset and approach that I've had. So like I said, as I've built $1 million net worth, 2 million, 3 million, up to 6 million, every time my net worth went up, my desire for things kind of went down. I remember in the beginning, I wanted my dream car of an Audi R8, and clearly now I could afford an Audi R8, but I know that if I were to buy an Audi R8, it wouldn't make me any happier. So by the sheer fact that I know I could own and buy an Audi R8, it actually makes me want it less, because I can already envision, I feel cool driving it for maybe a month or two. But where I live in Los Angeles, there's so much traffic, you can't even ride that fast, if I'm being honest, unless you're driving in the middle of the night. And I did drive a kind of a 2-door BMW throughout my 20s and 30s. So I kind of experienced that kind of like sports car. Obviously it's not the same as like an Audi R8. But I also experienced that when I hit the curb on my BMW, I was like really stressed, really frustrated by that. And then you have to be more cognizant of like where you park. Like you kind of have to park further away. Your car insurance will go up, and if you need to repair it, it's kind of more difficult to get replaced and repaired, and it's more expensive. So after kind of like outweighing these are the benefits, these are the cons, I was like, you know what? I think if I bought the car, I'd probably feel good for the first month, but after that, it'd probably be feel the same and be a net negative on my lifestyle. So for me, I'd rather just have a car where, if I hit the curb, yeah, it's gonna suck, but I'm not gonna be like frustrated about it. Like my Tesla Model Y, I can hit the curb, it's gonna suck, but I'm not gonna be like angry about it. So ironically, because of that, like I have no more desire for a dream car. Or if I really do have the itch to get a dream car, and at that point I've finished my I don't have to work my W2 job anymore, I just have so much money that I can do whatever I want, yeah, by all means I may consider getting the Audi R8. But for me, my number one priority is to be able to basically retire early and to be able to travel. So if I can move my finances around where I can retire early, which I'm on track for, and I move all my finances around where I can still travel the way I'm traveling currently. It doesn't have to be glamorous, it doesn't have to be super baller, but it just has to be like, my current lifestyle, if not even better. And I know that, as I have kids and a family, like 2 kids ideally, like it's gonna be more expensive to travel. I have to get 4 plane tickets. The hotel might be a little bit more expensive because I need more room or more beds, but typically it's not going to be that much more expensive to get instead of like a 1 queen size or king size bed, you can get 2 full size beds. So it's not that much difference in price, but you have 4 mouths to feed, and I kind of have to go at the kids' schedule. Like I can pack my own schedule, but if they're not feeling that schedule, then I might have to pivot. So for me, it's just really if I can sustain that lifestyle, and then I feel like it's worth it to experience the Audi R8, then I'll do it. Or I just can like lease it for like maybe 2 years or 3 years if I want to get out of my system. Or I just can rent it on Turo and drive it for like a week or 2 and see if I like it or not. Or I can make friends with somebody who has an Audi R8 that doesn't drive that often. So there's ways to like experience it, but I already kind of know like once I experience it, it's not going to feel as good like later. So like I said, and I kind of want to end this video on, it's kind of freeing to know that you don't want much. So the moment you kind of free yourself of like wanting much, this is kind of very like Buddhist monk-like of me. I am Buddhist, but I'm not super religious. But like the more you free yourself of desires, the more at peace and acceptance you are, and you kind of just enjoy yourself and enjoy being in the present. And I know I couldn't achieve this mindset until I achieved wealth. So usually the journey goes, you have a lack, you achieve wealth. And after you achieve wealth, you realize that it wasn't as great as you thought it was. And in order to obtain true happiness and be present is wanting less, enjoying what you have, and just doing what you want when you want on your own terms. Like that's ultimately what it comes down to, right? So it's kind of that evolution: lack, which leads to wealth, which leads to like kind of like self-reflection, spiritual awakening, and realizing what you really want out of this. So for me, like I said, if I don't have work at W2, can maintain my same lifestyle, be able to travel more than I'm currently traveling, and then bake in the fact that I'm gonna have 2 kids and a family. If I can live this same lifestyle I have, I can comfortably just step away from my W2 and comfortably like not build as wealth as fast, but still obviously try to build wealth without compromising my lifestyle, because I am very lifestyle oriented. That's why I bought real estate. That's why I'm investing. That's why I'm grinding now, because I want to grind now so that I could have lifestyle later. And don't get me wrong, I'm not compromising lifestyle today. Like I still never compromise on travel. I never compromise on experience. Like if we want to go to a concert, I go to the concert. I may not be front row, but I'll be in the venue. If I want to go to a football game, I go to a football game. If I want to eat at this restaurant, I eat at the restaurant. If I want to buy something, I'll just buy it. I'll just wait for a sale, but I'll buy it. So I never compromise today, but I'm definitely more mindful and methodical and frugal about how I spend, because I know that every dollar that I save could be a dollar that I allocate towards my financial freedom goal. But once I hit my financial freedom goal, if there's something I want, I just get it. So it's kind of like this like balance in these steps. Like I said, you're in lack, you build wealth, and then you kind of like self-reflect and realize that you don't need as much as you thought you did. So like for me, at first I thought I wanted a really nice car, and now I don't really. I mean, I have a Tesla Model Y. I'm happy with it. I don't need a luxury two-door sports car. At first I wanted a really big house, and right now I'm kind of happy with my 1,700 square foot townhouse. And my situation may change, but like for me, it's nice having a smaller house because I have a smaller house. It's easier to clean, or eventually when I hire a maid to clean it, it's cheaper to hire a maid to clean a smaller house. And there's no backyard, so I don't have to mow the lawn. I hate mowing the lawn. There's no front yard. I hate mowing the lawn. We have a community center with a pool and a gym. I love being able to go to the pool and the gym and to not maintain it. It's close by. There's a park there. You can grill there. Yes, it gets kind of crowded during the summer, but hey, it's just like going to any public park. And another thing is like, at first I wanted a really big house, and now I'm just like, oh, I lived in a bigger house. I'm like, I don't even utilize most of the space. So like, I just want a house where like I feel like I can utilize all the space, and it's sustainable. And because I know that for me, if I had a really big house and I want to travel, like I may not be at the house as much as I think I am. So it's fine just to have a little hub that you store your stuff, your things, and then you go. So like I said, the more wealth I built, the less I realized I wanted. And what I want is just kind of more experience oriented. And like I said, I do want to buy more real estate, but like I'm not as like hungry or desperate as I was, 5-6 years ago, because I know that I achieved what I wanted, and I can buy more real estate if I want to, but I just have to wait for the right deal in the market. It's kind of like at a weird standstill, so it's not a great time to buy. But if there's a lot of amazing deals in the market, by all means, I'm gonna strike. So anyways, hopefully you got some value from this video. Let me know questions you have. If you want to join my mentorship program or my newsletter, click on my link tree. I have links to both. And if you want a discount code, send me an email. The newsletter is free, so check that out. Otherwise, please like, comment, subscribe. Hope to see you next one. Thank you.